we're at the 3 for 3 here. We're talking a little bit baseball today. A little bit different. Had a lot of the fans asking me, a lot of the younger fans. They were like, "Can you guys talk about baseball, please? Can you just do a whole show on the Braves?" No, I will not.
Come on,
Sorry.
Coach.
Nobody likes the Braves that much. I know everybody in Virginia is a Braves fan. Highlight, they play in Atlanta, not Virginia. So stop. It's ridiculous. All right. So with that knowledge, we're about the midway through the season. So we're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to talk about some awards. We're going to talk about some different questions, a couple little takes, see what you guys feel about it. But as I was doing some research and going down this list, guys, Teach, you know more than me just about in this situation, or as much. We'll give myself a little credit. Some of the 2000s and 2010s. Now I know that was a long time ago, but there was some perennial people with Cy Youngs, perennial people for MVPs. I didn't see any of those guys here. They're all gone. There's not even a thought of them.
The wave of Miguel Cabrera, Albert Pujols, pitchers like Mariano Rivera, it's these guys who are always around in the awards, and you go, just write that name down. Yeah, of course. Just write that name down. It's easy. This is easy. Write Justin Verlander, write Jacob deGrom. They're either retired or injured.
Every single year you could put one of them down and you weren't going to be wrong. You could just know that name and you weren't going to look stupid at the office party. You just knew one of them, And now though they're different, and I expect it to be different. A lot of them guys retired, but those were the ones that that I pulled our heartstrings. Those are the ones we rooted for. Those are the ones. They were the Giants. I remember there was that year or two where they tried to make every All-Star a superhero in the All-Star game, and these were all those guys. And guess what? They're all retired, just like the rest of the Avengers. So with that knowledge, we got some new guys coming up. We got Shohei. We got Judge, and Judge is going to be there every year. Shohei is going to be there every year. And we got Corbin Carroll getting a lot of momentum for MVP as a rookie. Is the craziest thing I've ever seen, craziest thing I've ever heard of. Is it warranted? That's up for debate, which we will in a minute. But that brought to mind to a question. So, Podfather Teach, I got one, right? There's been 2 Rookie of the Years that won MVPs. Only 2. One was Fred Lynn. I don't expect 99.85% of people to know who that is. And I'm not expecting any of us to know it. But there was one more that every one of us should know. And I'm going to go to the Podfather because we're talking. I believe he knows who it is. Tell me who it is.
I would have guessed Ken Griffey. That Ken Griffey Jr. would have been my guess. Okay, that was my guess. I don't know a lot of baseball, but that would have been my guess.
Okay.
Teach gave it up after that with his eyeballs getting all big. It was definitely Ichiro, right?
Ichiro Suzuki.
Yeah.
May be considered the greatest hitter to ever play baseball if he played his whole career here. If he wouldn't have played across the sea, pretty sure Pete Rose's hit record would be in the dirt. I think he'd have drugged that through the mug. Am I wrong, Teach?
Oh, no. I mean, Ichiro was 27 years old when he came over as a rookie. I mean, he was playing grown man baseball for 9 years prior to that in Japan. He was the all-time hit leader over there. And if Ichiro wanted to hit for power, he could have. He chose not to. He had an absolute hose in right field. And he would hit the ball on a little dribbler. And because he could get out of the box so well being left-handed, there was no chance of anybody ever throwing him out.
Yeah. Podfather, give you a little background about Ichiro before we get into the MVPs. One of the funniest things that I remember about Ichiro is that a lot in softball, they have a play for left-handed batters. They call it slap ball. They slap the ball and they take off running out of the box so they get an extra step to try to get to first base. Well, that looks like what Ichiro did every at bat, except for his balls went over the wall a lot. It was the most incredible thing ever. He held the bat out with one hand. And it was the wildest looking thing. And guess what? I loved every second of it. He was defensive, which I love for the other part of that, because as a kid growing up, playing baseball, loving baseball in St. Louis, defense was always hammered in, and he was there. He was great defense, great offense, great teammate, couldn't speak English, learned some, and he was a great ambassador of baseball. He definitely brought it over the world. So it's a little respect for Ichiro. People don't give him anywhere near the amount of respect he deserves. So I had to go off on a little tangent because we just don't do that enough. Ichiro is a GOAT when it comes to some of the stuff he did. I'm not going to say he's but he's definitely. But as we're talking about GOATs, some of that stuff starts off with you winning awards because that's how we rank a lot of the things. Either it's rings, awards, different stuff that you put in your what should we call it, your career resume to start down GOAT Street. And with that, I feel like every baseball analysis and everything ever always starts off with the NL or AL. And because I'm from St. Louis, we're going to start off with the NL if I'm doing the podcast every single time. So I cannot stand it. I think they think it's alphabetical order and cute. It's gross. It's disgusting. I always have to wait. So we're not waiting this year. And then especially on this podcast. So we're going to start off with the NL and some of the favorites to win MVP. I'm going to throw a couple names out there, guys. And I'll let you pick and choose what you want. If you guys got a different name, that's fine too. I'm going to start off with Corbin Carroll, monster. I think 15 plus home runs, batting way above average. Defense is not killing himself. He's got his Diamondbacks doing some things, I'm not going to say it's his team yet, but I'm going to tell you he's there. They're number one, and I didn't think they were going to be number one. They're one of the biggest surprises, which we'll get to that later. Ronald Acuna Jr., he's always him. He's always been him. He got injured. He came back. He was him, and he's still him. The Braves are a juggernaut. I don't know how all of a sudden they're perennial juggernauts, but they got that team turned around. Good for them. Quite a few good moves about 4 or 5 years ago led them into the streak that they are. They seem to take a playbook out of the Cardinals. Am I wrong, Teach, where they always just get a guy and then sign him for 75 years for $500,000, or is it just me?
No, you're absolutely right. That's, the Braves have done this, throughout the 90s. When you saw that 90s run, going to the World Series, winning a World Series, losing a couple World Series. But yeah, they are a team where it seems like country boys like to go play.
Yeah. Speaking of Atlanta Brave, Freddie Freeman. Oh wait, he left. Los Angeles Dodger Freddie Freeman resurged in his career again. And them Dodgers are them boys. They're the new New York Yankees of old, the ones that that pay all the money. Yankees don't do that much anymore. They pay a lot, but not like the Dodgers. The Dodgers are the Golden State Warriors of baseball at this point. They're way over the cap, but you know what? You're allowed to do that in baseball. So if you're willing to pay the money, pay the money. Speaking of one of the players the Cardinals didn't go get, Sean Murphy. Could have been a possible Cardinal. There were some rumors about him being out there. He was not, and he goes to the Atlanta Braves and puts up MVP numbers for a good team coming from Oakland. Tragedy as they are the trash athletics. Just the farm system for the major leagues. Gives up Sean Murphy. He comes back the next year having a great year. Gold Glove defense. Numbers are there offensively. He's just him. Again, another one, a little surprising. I didn't think I'd put this name in here. I'll be honest. Mookie Betts for the Los Angeles Dodgers. He has been everything before, and it looks like he's being everything again. I thought he might have fell off a little bit. I was wrong on that. He's a heck of a ball player, super fast. Plays 10 positions on the field, even though there's 9. Like he can literally play everywhere. And the fun part is, I've never seen a caliber of player this high play this many positions willingly and willfully. Like he wants to play different positions. It's the craziest thing. Usually when you're a high profile, you stick to a position, you may get a second position. This guy just plays he wants to play everywhere. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Teach, I'll go with you first. What are you thinking for the NL so far?
Listen, I love the list. I would stay with Ronald Acuna Jr. He's my bet. I made a short video on the stuff he's doing this year is amazing. The fact that he's able to use the new rule is genius. For those of you guys who don't know the baseball rules, a pitcher is only allowed to throw over to first base twice. Okay, so if you're a pesky base stealer, which Ronald Acuna is, he's probably going to finish with 70 stolen bases this year. If you were able to get the pitcher to try to pick you off twice and he's unsuccessful, the pitcher cannot try again. He has to throw the ball home. So that essentially gives Acuna a running start. It's just baseball IQ out the roof. He's probably going to finish with 30 plus home runs and 70 stolen bases, which is historic. All right. There's never been a 30-70 guy. Podfather, who do you think?
Hey, look, that's great stats. What I think right now is that it's hilarious listening to the baseball talk because I was listening to you drop the names for the MVPs, right? And so you have two Dodgers, two Braves, one at Arizona. Think about any other sport where you would have two from one team, and one in your top five. Like, can you imagine AD and LeBron being up for MVP at the same time? Doesn't happen in basketball. You know what I mean? So it's really cool to hear about. It's fun to think about. I'm going to say I think the better story. I think you're probably right. 30-70 is historic. You did a short on that not long ago. I remember listening to it, talk to you about it. So that's probably the way to go. But I'm here for the story, man. And Corbin Carroll, if he's going to be the third to ever do it, let's let it happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to see it happen. Not only because we're 3 for 3 and he can be the third. You know what I mean? But just because that's historic in its own right. That's writing a little bit of history. Maybe it's already been written. 30 for 70 hasn't, but I like that story better. That's where I'm going to go.
Can he make it a whole season though? Rookies struggle like that, Coach. What do you think?
That is my biggest concern with the whole situation. Rookies never play this amount of games this long. Anytime in their they play fall ball. Oh, they play Arizona League. Oh, they play this. Oh, they play. They don't play major leagues. Yeah, they could play baseball games, but and especially when you get in the closer contentious games. Right now, games are getting thrown around. The teams are a little bit lackadaisical. Things are happening. It's starting to get a little hotter now. It's starting to get a little different. The ball flies a little different. You're going multiple time zones. It's going to start stretching on you. And then when we start getting closer to the playoffs, which they got people. The Giants aren't going away. The Dodgers ain't going away. They got people in their division that are coming for them. And I promise you, it's going to get tighter. It's going to get harder. They're not going to throw this kid as many strikes. But with that knowledge, guess who they have to throw strikes? Ronald Acuna. There's players all around the guy that can bat. And when he gets on base, he's been here before. He's been him for a while. It's not his first year on this rodeo. I do like Corbin Carroll. I love the story. I love Podfather. I really didn't look at it, but baseball's a different sport. It's way more individual than any other sport. I think we can actually go for something like this, like basketball. It definitely takes a team, and if you got two of them guys, you can't really have one be MVP. But in baseball, you can. Last year, Cardinals had Goldschmidt winning. Arenado was third, and it could have went either way. Second deserved to be there. I forgot who it was. I believe he was a Brave. I don't want to mention it right now. Since I already gave him a Brave award, we're not going to talk anymore about the Braves. But I think that it could be anybody's ball. It's different rules. People are adjusting differently. Acuna started off early. We'll see if we can stay hot. I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be it's a long season. Baseball's crazy. And in fact, to remind every Braves fan out there that's doing what he did, let's talk about this. You guys were trashed the first part of the season and came back really well. So don't forget, don't come out on your high horses with your chest all poked around, because it could turn around just like that also. Teach, you have something?
Yeah, the sport that it brings up to me is like college football. College football, you can have a quarterback and a wide receiver, or a running back and a quarterback from the same team. And eventually you might even strike gold and hit a Charles Woodson or somebody who plays both ways, plays offense and defense. So,
yeah. It's a good conversation though, Podfather. We should short that somehow. It's a pretty fun one. Something that people don't really think about. But on that now, with that, we got the NL figured out. Let's go to the AL for MVP. Now this is where the like we talked about in the other podcast, this is where the juggernauts are. They're like the good ones, the big guys. This is the perennials. Like any of these guys goes on, there's 2 or 3 of these guys that go on the NL and they're on top of the list right away just because it's who they are. We'll start off. I'm gonna go a little bit backwards, and when I think Marcus Semien, it was a different type of guy. He's having a really good season. He's beginning to cool down a little bit. But I still think he deserves to be in this conversation. Bo Bichette, who doesn't love the name? His father, Dante Bichette, was always a favorite of mine. I love watching him play in Colorado. But Bo Bichette is a very good guy. He's hitting the ball well. He's just, the one thing about him is his team is in a very hard division. I don't think they're going to go up. And honestly, I don't think he has the chops for it all to be number 1 overall, because the guys in front of him are definitely different. And with one of those names is Wander Franco, which is which is weird because as we're taping this yesterday, he got suspended for 2 games for something they won't talk about to make him a better teammate. So as we're talking about his being here, he could quickly fall. Tampa Bay could implode. This is either going to solidify who they are as number 1 up there, or this is going to break them down. And if I'm seeing the Yankees guy next to me, he's probably hoping the latter, and I'm going to be questioned. They don't have a history of winning, so they have a history of everything else going on. So we'll see what happens. And then it's really going to be a 2-man race. It always will be, in my opinion. So, what I will take is Aaron Judge being one of them, the reigning MVP, Mister break the AL record. I can't say he has the home run record because he doesn't.
Mr. 62, baby.
Mr. 62, in the most historic franchise in all of sports, he holds the most historic record, and that's the craziest thing you'll hear about all day. That one right there, that doesn't leave my mind. It's the most historic franchise, the winningest franchise out of any sport, period, hands down, and he holds the most precious record. That's crazy. Good for him. And then you got the great, wow, Shohei Ohtani. The superlatives don't end. Pitcher, hitter, dominant pitcher, Cy Young candidate possibly, home run leader, RBI leader. But hey, can you name me a stat he doesn't lead the Angels in? You can't. It doesn't exist. He leads them all. He's LeBron Jamesing the situation, and they still suck. But that's just another conversation here and there. They can't, baseball's a different sport. You need a lot more than 2. And they got 2, but they need more. And so with that, guys, Teach, I'll go to you first. Who are you leaning on?
That this isn't a conversation, it's Shohei. And that's from an Aaron Judge fan. This isn't a conversation. It's Shohei. I think the bigger question isn't, hey, should we give him the MVP? I think the bigger question is, would MVP Shohei hit a home run off maybe Cy Young Shohei? I think that's the question that is more important. He's running away with it. There's no chance he does not win MVP. Sorry, there is one chance if he gets injured, but that's it. He is amazing. Somebody is going to give him $600, $700, $800, $900 million in the offseason, maybe. Are we going to see the first $1 billion player? He definitely deserves it.
Wow. I didn't think about that. Podfather, what do you think?
Yeah, I think he said it all. I think since he came in the league, he's dominated the sport. His name's been everywhere. And I think we've even talked about this before. Maybe it was a question from one of the fans when we did our roundtable or something, and somebody said, what is Ohtani's next contract look like? Is he the first $1 billion sports star who made it in contract, not on all the other stuff? You know what I mean? And so it's probably from now till 10 years later, right? Just give it to the guy. We had never seen anything like it. Babe Ruth, maybe years and years ago, who did a little bit of both, but not at this level, not like this. And so just completely nuts.
Yeah, no, it is the craziest thing ever. And for now, because you said it, Teach, I didn't really hit my mind, but let's let baseball have the record. Let's have a $1 billion athlete. Let's have a $1 billion contract. Actually, soccer does have the record, so I can't really say nothing.
It's got to come from the Yankees, though, right?
It does, but it doesn't have to come from the Yankees.
Well,
it doesn't.
What franchise could it come from?
Dodgers unloaded a lot of salary in the offseason. Trey Turner is no longer there. And the signals are, if the Angels think about trading him, the Dodgers have the prospects and the willingness to give him that long-term contract. Plus, he's just a short trip up the road.
The Dodgers are one of the best teams in major leagues and also by far one of the most dominant minor leagues. They have a legit problem. They have too many people. And it's not like it's a good problem they have. No, this is they have way too many. And everyone knows it. That's why it's bad. They have just enough where it's bad. It's very rare you see like this. They are loaded every position 2 times over, up and down, single A, double A, triple A. There's triple A players playing in double A and single A right now for the Dodgers. That's how good their minor league system is. It's completely amazing. You're right. There's no doubt about it. I was telling Shohei. Shohei's him. Shohei's
He's again,
legitimately.
he's a guy who can lead in home runs and lead in strikeouts.
It's the craziest stat that'll never be done. Some things you could say things will never be broken. So Babe Ruth did it for a short term, right? A very short term in his career. They went to hitter because he was too good of a hitter, right? But that was back in the day before some creature was created named Shohei, and he is just different. He's changing the game of baseball as much as probably Steph Curry changed the game of basketball. Kids are going to now want to do both more than ever. Why? Because this guy. And he's not American. And you know what? As an American, an American's game, I'm happy for it. I'm so proud of it, man. This guy is awesome. He deserves it. He is a great human being. He's not all just on the field. He's off the field too. And I couldn't give enough accolades for him. If I had a vote, I'd vote twice. It's like that. I think Shohei deserves it. He probably deserved it last year, but historically wise, I'm not giving it to anybody but Aaron Judge for breaking the record. But overall MVP wise, it's hard to fight a guy who plays both sides really, especially well. Not just okay, well. He's not a bullpen guy. He's a starting pitcher. So Shohei is definitely 3 for 3 on that, guys. So good stuff on that. Now let's get into Cy Youngs. We won't cover everything. We're going to cover some Cy Youngs. We're going to have some quick little questions for you. But one thing about Cy Youngs is there's a lot of teams in the major leagues, a lot of years, a lot of people left, a lot of expansion, a lot of this and that. So there's a lot of years going on some things. I think we have, 32 teach, right? Am I wrong? 32 still? Teams? 28. Yeah.
30 teams in baseball.
30 teams. That's correct. I'm sorry. Too many other sports in my mind. So point with this is, though, there's 2 teams that never win a Cy Young, that never had a Cy Young pitcher, which is straight surprising because baseball's been around forever. They almost signed the Declaration of Independence and went out back and played baseball. It's been around that long. So my point to that is there's 2 teams without it. One of them, Teach, can you guess one of them, the easy one?
I thought the easy one was Colorado. The closest they ever had was Ubaldo Jimenez had this amazing start. I think he went like 12-1 or 13-1, and then he just got the yips. And who signed him? Baltimore signed him the next offseason. So yeah, that was the easy one, was Colorado, which it's never known for being a pitcher's ballpark. I mean, there was always hey, put the baseballs in the humidifier, that way they don't fly out so much. So that was the easy one for me.
And the fun part about Colorado is not built for pitchers, so pitchers won't sign there. It's just if you get drafted there and then get lucky with an Ubaldo, they have to get it while they got it, because the moment that his contract's up, he's going somewhere else. And so with that knowledge, Podfather, I'm going to give you a crack at it. What do you think the other team is? I know that
it's got to be young, right? It's got to be a young team. You in Colorado, I would say maybe the Marlins, maybe like Miami or something like that. I don't know.
Nope, they've had some. So it was a good guess, though. Logically, very intelligent guess. Teach, do you have a guess?
Yeah, this is where a lot of players, because this is my favorite stat. Nolan Ryan never won a Cy Young. And who did he play for? He played for the Rangers. And
Texas
he
Rangers,
never won a Cy Young. That was always he was the workhorse. I think he finished second and third a couple times, but I remember, because I'm not a big Nolan Ryan guy. Never won a Cy Young. That's always my trump card.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
Texas Rangers.
That'd be like Peyton Manning. Like Peyton Manning never winning an MVP.
They're known for pitching. They're like, I think of Texas and I think pitchers, and that's the funny part about everything, is that they've never had a Cy Young.
They've had guys that come there, like Cliff Lee won a Cy Young in Cleveland, came there. Cole Hamels, right?
Yep.
Yu Darvish.
Yeah.
He was really good a stretch there. I don't remember what he finished, but I remembered as soon as he came over, he was dominant.
And they had 37 years of Nolan Ryan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is nuts.
Beating the best out of Robin Ventura and throwing strikeouts.
Yeah. Nolan Ryan, is he a top 10 pitcher?
I believe he is. Teach will not put him anywhere near his top 10.
I would think so.
I think he'd be the outside of top 10, like 10 itself.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion.
I just it never
9 to 12.
He had tons.
To never have a Cy Young.
Tons of strikeouts, but again, I don't know. Give me Greg Maddux. Give me the crafty guy who can beat you with his head and his arm. Nolan Ryan was the guy that was striking everybody out, and you go, yeah, but he also gave up 3 home runs. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So give me the guy who gives up 1 run and never throws above 90.
He's the Brett Favre of baseball, of
No,
Cy Young.
Brett Favre was better.
Of
Dan Marino. He's Dan
yeah,
Marino.
Yep, and I'll give you a quick stat for you, Podfather. He leads the major leagues in no hitters thrown and one hitters thrown, but he also leads the league in like home runs given. Like it's a different stat. Like he's
That's
just
a
that
Brett
guy.
Favre stat.
Yeah, he's
Lead the league in touchdowns and interceptions. You know what I
Ken
mean?
Griffey Jr. said by far the hardest throwing pitcher he's ever faced, and it's not even close. He said the ball one time he threw it out of his hand, it came so fast it looked like a medicine pill coming at him because it was going so quick at him. But let's get to the other Cy Youngs this year. Let's start with the NL again because you know how I am. A couple names to throw at you: Zach Gallen, Arizona Diamondbacks, 27 years old, just a great guy. Great pitching year this year. Diamondbacks are hot. Won't give
Got
you too
nice
many
hair,
stats.
you know.
Great, nice hair. He's just a nice guy.
It's a Joe Burrow stat.
He
Former
watches
Cardinal.
The Simpsons. Yeah,
Former Cardinal.
God, you had to throw it in there. I didn't want to hear that. Former Cardinal. It seems like all the former Cardinals end up as Cy Young candidates. A guy that the Cardinals own, coincidentally, Clayton Kershaw, is having a very good year. Very, very good year. One of the best I've seen in a long time. Spencer Strider for the Atlanta Braves. You can't have it without the Braves being on here with the best record. They have that guy, and they always have a guy like this. They always got a guy like this coming out of nowhere and just doing what he does best. A perennial guy is starting to come about now. Zach Wheeler for the Philadelphia Phillies. He's quietly just does his business. He just seems to just play good ball, and you know what? You need pitchers like that. And then for the weird Pittsburgh Pirates, I got a Mitch Keller. Again, 27. Pirates not expected to make a lot of noise, but guess what they're doing? Making noise.
It's the Mike Tomlin effect up there.
It just rubs over. I hate it because they play in the Cardinals division, but those are the guys. Teach, who you got?
To me, again, it's Spencer Strider. He was my pick before the season started. He's having a little bit of control issues and still striking everybody out. So it seems like, again, this is year 3, his third full year in the major leagues. So people are starting to get a book on him and starting to figure out kind of what he's doing. It's funny, a lot of the earned run stuff that we see, I don't necessarily think it should go against him. If you look at FIP, fielding independent pitching, which also takes on other factors of, hey, if you're just pitching, no matter if your fielders are screwing up, what does it look like? I think he's 7th in the in baseball at 3.13 or something like that. So I love Spencer Strider. Hard to be mad at a guy with that kind of mustache.
I love that you brought in my like a QBR stat the way I did for the way I do sometimes, like
Quarterback rating,
FIP, this and that. Yeah, I get it.
Whip. I could have talked about his whip, walks, and hits per inning pitched. I think that's at like 1.4 or 1.14. It's, again, you want to be under one or under whip, and you want to be 3 or under FIP. So, sorry.
Podfather.
Yeah, I mean, I think Strider's a good choice, but how about Zachary? Let's go Zach. Zach Attack from the Cardinals, right? Oh, ex-Cardinal. I can't keep it straight. Is this the guy that was ex-Cardinal?
Which
was
Zach?
He ex-Cardinal? Was it Zach?
Oh, Zach Gallen. No, not Zach Wheeler. That's Zach Wheeler. Zach Gallen, yes.
No, I'm going to go Zach Gallen. That's what I'm talking about, okay? So right now, just a few stats that are here on the sheet. Tied for first in wins in the NL right now, third in strikeouts. I think those two things go well together, right? And so, yeah, in Arizona, who doesn't like Arizona, right?
You're in a Diamondback kind of mood.
I'm in a very Diamondback kind of mood.
Like a snake in the grass over here. Podfather's snake in the grass.
I think it's the color of the uniform.
That's your shirt. I think it's your shirt. That's what I think it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go Zach Gallen also. You know why? Because it seems like every former Cardinal wins a Cy Young. So why not keep the trend? We definitely know how to draft them. So yeah, let's just go that way. So I'm gonna go with Zach Gallen. He's having a hot season. I believe he's got a 2.96 runs per game. Strike out 100 batters. He's second in the NL in strikeouts. First would be that Spencer Strider. But the one thing that I like is Gallen's got 8 wins already. I think he's got 9 now. He could be close to a 20-game winner. That's unheard of right now. So that's a big thing. So I'm just picking him as my favorite right now. We'll see what happens. A lot of baseball left. A lot of baseball left. Speaking of a lot of baseball left, let's get to the I hate saying it, but the better league right now, the AL. And let's talk about some guys. First up, I got Shane McClanahan. He's a great pitcher. Beautiful ERA, 2.12 right now. Completely hot. Is unbelievable. Framber Valdez, second lowest ERA at 2.27. I mean, these guys lead all the stats, it seems like, in major leagues with everything when I'm going down the AL. And they always play better. They always used to face more hitters. It's not true no more. The NL has a DH also. So this isn't, he doesn't get that bonus anymore. But honestly, for the Astros, he's having one of the best Astros seasons ever, and the Astros historically had some of the greatest pitchers to ever play. They had some amazing runs. Whether they took steroids back then and had amazing runs, that's up to you to guess. Garrett Cole, though, for the New York Yankees, man, he definitely deserves all that stuff. He definitely deserves all that praise and what's going on. He's 7-0 and 13 starts, 2.82, amazing. Kevin Gossman, great, another great one. His record ain't so hot, so this is where it's going to be really hard. 4-3 is not the guy I'm looking at for Cy Young, but it's because the players ain't scoring. It's not because he ain't pitching. I mean, I think it was DeGrom the other year had one of them years, but he's not him. He's good, but he's not him.
Felix Hernandez type problem from the
Yeah,
Mariners, winning the Cy Young with, I think, a losing record.
Yeah, it's the craziest thing ever. And then the guy who won't win it, believe it or not, because I don't think America's ready to crown an MVP and a Cy Young for different reasons. Shohei Ohtani, I literally said that's what I gave you the stat because I think the baseball writers still have some things they got to work through, and they're not going to give him the Cy Young. But honestly, he really doesn't deserve the Cy Young right now. He might turn it on. He has the ability to completely dominate the second half. But I don't think he will, so I'm not going there. But that's just my perspective. But I won't get my pick till later. Teach, what you got first?
So first of all, Shohei's not going to win it just because he's not going to have enough starts. He's never going to finish a season with 30 or 35 starts. My pick is Garrett Cole. He's 8-1 right now. He's never won the Cy Young. He continuously leads the league in strikeouts. He's having a dominant season, even though the Yankees are kind of the walking wounded with Aaron Judge out, Harrison Bader out. So the offense has struggled. Giancarlo missed time. Shocker there, people, right? So again, he's really carried the pitching staff and become that roadblock for team success. The idea that, hey, he's the stopper when they're on a 2 or 3 game losing streak. So give it to Garrett Cole. Hopefully he wins the Cy Young, gets that monkey off his back this year.
That's a good story too.
Definitely not a homer pick, but maybe it is. Podfather, what about you?
That's a good story that Garrett Cole been around, did a lot of good things. I'll go Valdez this year. Just a few things really quick. 2.27 ERA, fifth lowest WHIP in the major leagues right now. I think having a great year, but that's going to be my pick. That's where I'd go. But I like the Garrett Cole story.
It's both are compelling arguments, but I think Shane McClanahan has got he's got some stats to back up everything. That's the problem, is he's got stats to beat everybody in baseball. So it's just, for me, for some of them other guys to catch up, he's got to fall off. And so that'll be what has to happen for me personally. He's a great player, great thing. The rest of the guys are great too. The AL is completely unpredictable because everybody's so good. So any of these guys could fall off. I don't know which one. So we'll see what happens. I'm leaning towards Shane. I think we're all great picks. I don't think there's nothing wrong with not being 3 for 3 because it's such a toss-up right now. It's so unbelievably close. It's a phenomenal thing. And with that, that's our award ceremony, guys. It's a little bit talking about baseball. And, this is the podcast you guys asked for. A lot of stats, a lot of opinions, and a lot of small talk in between, guys. So I think we'll start continuing some more baseball as we go in the future. I think this is the season where we really start panning in on some baseball. So if you like some, let's get some comments. Let's get some words in there, some likes. Let us know what you do. This is 3 for 3 from Coach Frank, from Teach to the Podfather. We're out.